Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the Achiever in You.
With the construction of PNC First Side and the David L. Lawrence Convention Center over a decade ago, our region began to set a national standard for green or high-performance buildings. Well, a couple of years ago, the Green Building Alliance set out to raise the bar even more with the 2030 District Initiative. Partner building owners and managers are committing to 50% reductions in energy use, water use, and transportation emissions by 2030, which is, of course, little more than 15 years away. The district's already getting national attention for its efforts, and Sean Luther is with us today to talk about it. He's Senior Director for the Pittsburgh 2030 District. And welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
So a little bit of background first. How did this come about in the first place back in 2012?
So GBA has been around for about 20 years. And we spent the first 19 of that really focused on the LEED standard, which is an internationally recognized building standard for high-performance buildings. But here in Western Pennsylvania, LEED gets a lot of attention on the new construction. You mentioned the David L. Lawrence Convention Center, PNC's ongoing construction around the region. And what we really realized as part of a really robust strategic plan was that if we wanted to advance the high performance and healthy building conversation here in Western Pennsylvania, we needed a program that focused on existing buildings.
So it would take a long time to replace all the existing stock by building new, right?
Exactly, and it certainly wouldn't be economically feasible for many of the owners and the developers who would be tasked with that. So we looked around the country and partnered with a national organization called Architecture 2030 and modified a program that had been very successful in Seattle. And so in late 2012, we launched the Pittsburgh 2030 District. And by the end of that year, about 50% of the total square footage in downtown Pittsburgh had committed to those really robust building performance goals that you mentioned.
Well, that's pretty good. When you talk about downtown Pittsburgh, how do you define that geographically?
The program right now is focused on the Golden Triangle, or traditional CBD, as well as the North Shore from Carnegie Science Center over to the 7th Street Bridge. And then the Penguins have actually committed the entire 28-acre redevelopment site in the Lower Hill. So that's what we're focused on, or have been for the past 2 years in the downtown district. And then later this month, we'll actually be launching a district in Oakland as well.
In Oakland as well.
Oakland,
okay,
yeah.
Expanding it out there. So how's it going? You making any progress with all these folks who've signed up and are working on making their buildings more energy efficient?
Well, we spent the first couple years of the program really pitching the program to the building owners and developers in downtown Pittsburgh. So as of right now, we have just under 60% of the total square footage in downtown. That's about 35 million square feet. And that's everything from the city-county building, Heinz Field, the convention center, all kinds of different types of buildings. And so earlier this year, we were actually able to catalog downtown's energy performance for the first time. And that's we published our district report for 2013. We were able to document an almost 12% reduction in energy in downtown. So that's the equivalent of taking almost 8,000 homes off of the electric grid in Western Pennsylvania.
And that's just in the very initial phases, recognizing most of the time you spent just getting people to sign up before they even did anything, right?
Exactly. And I think that really speaks to how invested a lot of the major corporations headquartered in downtown and the real estate sector in Pittsburgh in general are. This is we call it a grassroots program. It's very much grounded in real estate fundamentals. So the property owners are undertaking improvements that, yes, improve their water and energy efficiency. They also improve the bottom line operation of those buildings. So these are not draconian measures that we're imposing on downtown property owners. It's improvements that make economic sense for the property owners and for the businesses who occupy the buildings, and in many cases also improve the quality of life for the tenants and everyone enjoying downtown Pittsburgh.
I know the building that the Allegheny Conference has its offices in, 11 Stanwix. It's the old Westinghouse headquarters building. They've been making a big investment in LEED certification there. It has made it a nicer place to work, but they're also getting national recognition for it.
Absolutely. We just nominated 11 Stanwix and their management team with CBRE and Chris Pinelli for a national EB award, which is operated by our sister USGBC chapter in New York. EB is existing buildings. And so 11 Stanwix was recognized for their really holistic approach to energy and water reductions. They're an Energy Star certified building. They've made tremendous strides in reducing the amount of energy that it takes to actually run that building. to PNC, and the U.S. Steel Tower also won national awards out of the EBs this year.
And they're all relatively old buildings, 40 years or so, right? So they're definitely not built during the green building era. Only about a minute left. So is this just strictly for downtown, or if somebody's got a building out in the suburbs somewhere or elsewhere in the region, can they plug into this and figure out what the magic is?
So we designed the program as a district scale for downtown and now Oakland as well. But that's really a testing bed. And so what we're trying to do is capture the best practices. How is 11 Stanwicks accomplishing these tremendous energy reductions? And because those make sense from a real estate fundamentals perspective, they're transferable around the region. And so our hope is that success in downtown and eventually in Oakland will inspire property owners and business owners around the region to undertake similar high performance and healthy upgrades in their buildings. And so we'll really be impacting all of Western Pennsylvania.
That's really cool. So if people want to find out more about what's going on, or if they haven't signed up yet and they're in the Central Business District, how do they get a hold of you?
Our website is gbapgh.org. You can find out about the Pittsburgh 2030 District, see our progress report. You can also learn about our Green and Healthy Schools initiative, and then our chapter functions as USGBC, and learn more about LEED on that website as well.
All right. Sean Luther, the Senior Director for Pittsburgh 2030. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you very
it.
much.
Yeah. And we'll be back in a minute with a little dollars and cents. Stay with us.